Hello, I'm Vivian Corrigan.
And I'm Gavin Simon. Welcome to Perthshire Online TV. So how are we this week?
I'm very good. It's a bit damp.
It's a bit damp, and it's a bit different from the introduction last week's show, isn't it?
I know. What
so,
a contrast.
Vivian, I've got a bone to pick with you, by the way. You've put me to you've put me to expense. You've put me to expense after all the feedback with the British military fitness footage last week. Tracy Miller from Mac and Posh is actually going to make me spend money because she laughed so much that she's ruined X number of mascaras. So
you gave us all a good laugh. We all had a good laugh.
So by the way, to Tracy and Sarah at Mac and Posh, congratulations on launching the store. It's great to see some new businesses opening up in the high street in Perth. So well done, girls.
Well done. So what's on the show this week?
Well, first of all this week, what we've got to remember is thank you to the fundraising initiatives who have come forward with regards our Appeal to Save initiative. So if you're out there, if you're doing any fundraising at this point in time, you're a charity, fundraising organisation, school, project, blah, 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 then get in touch with us. Get in touch with us or get in touch with Andy Taylor from Appeal to Save in Perth. And as I say, thanks to the two organisations who've actually come forward at this point in time to put their names in the hat. So we want some more. We've also got our new community reporter, Sarah Johnson. Sarah's going to be the community reporter for Blair Gowrie in East Perthshire. And Sarah's joining the show for the first time today. And she's actually interviewing Dawn from Breast Cancer Care. And they're talking about the Pink Ribbon Walk, which takes place at Scone Palace on the 12th of May.
That's right. That's right. Very good.
And we've also got the Provost on the show again this week. The Provost, Dr. John Hulbert, he's finishing up as Provost in May at the council election times. So it's great that we've got him in before he moves on. And he's got a few things to talk about over the next few weeks, all about Perth and Perthshire. So it was great having a chat with him again.
Very good.
And you? Who have you been seeing this week?
Well, I bumped into Steve Bonthrone with his runners on the North Bench, and he's getting them into training for the Perth Kilt Run, so that was nice. And Dr. Alex Yellowlees from the Priory Clinic in Glasgow, he's been back in the studio and this time talking about eating disorders. So that's an interesting interview. That's
great. And as they say, it's on with the show.
Your coffee tower that you ordered.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now it's on with the show.
Tomorrow, 130 people will be diagnosed with breast cancer. That's 1 every 10 minutes. For those diagnosed, it is a terrifying time where often they will feel isolated. Similarly, their friends and family may be unsure on how to talk to them and what best advice to offer. This is where breast cancer care comes in. With me in the studio today is Dawn Stanley, Events Officer for Breast Cancer Care Scotland. She's here today, thank you, to talk to us a little bit more about breast cancer care as a charity and the upcoming Pink Ribbon Walk. Hi Dawn, thanks for coming in. Now first of all, for people maybe at home watching this that don't know breast cancer care as well as you and I do, can you tell us a little bit more about the charity and what it does?
Yes, certainly. We are a UK-wide support-based charity where we provide information for people that have experienced a diagnosis of breast cancer and their friends and family who are also going through a difficult time. And yeah, we basically are here to support them, provide them with information and any advice that they might need through our helpline and our one-to-one services.
And how many people over the course of the year does breast cancer care help and support through this?
We have helped more than 1.7 million people in the last year, and there are currently over 50,000 people living in the UK with breast cancer. And that includes 300 men, which quite a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah. And as you say, men at home often don't think it can include me, it's my wife, my daughter, my sister. And with breast cancer care and the services that it offers, am I right in thinking that you get no government funding for this?
Exactly, yep. We are completely funded by the fundraising that our supporters do every day. So we rely so heavily on them. Yes,
which leads us quite nicely to this year's Pink Ribbon Walk.
Yeah.
At, where is it? Is it Scone Palace?
It's Scone Palace on the 12th of May this year.
Right, okay. And for that, again, for people that maybe don't know, because we all know about the Relay for Life, the Race for Life. Where does it differ? What can somebody expect if they sign up for this Pink Ribbon Walk?
Yeah, the Pink Ribbon Walk is a fantastic event. We have 5 Pink Ribbon Walks happening in the UK this year, starting off, as we said, on the 12th of May up in Scotland in Scone Palace. So it's a 10 or a 20-mile walk through the beautiful countryside of Perthshire. And when everybody comes back across the finish line after their walk, they're welcome back with a massive cheer and a barbecue and a massage and a goodie bag.
And a medal.
And a medal as well.
I was thinking
for
of the
people
medals.
that want their medals.
Yes, because this will be the 3rd year that I'm walking it for, and the medal is everything
It's the best
to me.
part, right?
It is the best part. So how do people go about registering?
People can register just now online at pinkribbonwalk.org.uk. Registration is £30.
Right.
And we ask for a minimum fundraising sponsorship of £175, which might sound a lot,
Yes.
but actually if you break it down, it's only a £10 donation from 18 friends and family, so it's
Yeah,
actually
so it
quite
is
easy
actually doable.
to do, yeah.
And so I think obviously you've maybe already hit that, but for the £30, what does, you know, as myself, if I was entering, what do I get for my money in that?
You get your race pack, so that gives you your fundraising and training support kit. You get your breast cancer care t-shirt, very similar to the one I'm wearing today.
Perfect.
And as well as that, you get your registration on the day to the event. You get your barbecue once you cross the finish line, and you get your medal as well.
Okay. And how many people are you hoping to take part this year? In you know, obviously, how many did you have last year?
Yeah, last year we had just over 750 people walking on the day. So we're hoping to beat that this year and have at least 800 people walking.
Oh, that would be... And I take it it's open to everybody? What sort of age? I mean, obviously, does it have an age restriction?
Yes, you can walk on your own if you're over 16. And if you're under 16, you have to be, well, over the age of 14, but with a parent or guardian with you.
Right, okay. And if people are wanting to maybe... They can't necessarily walk it themselves. Do you encourage people to just come along on the day and support?
Absolutely. It's a really fun day out for friends and family. So if you can't take part in the walk yourself, but you still want to come along and support, we need loads of volunteers to help out on the day at registrations or at water points to cheer people along.
Yes, I know how important that is when you're flagging at 5 miles, because I've never done the 20. 10's been quite enough for me, but when you are flagging, somebody staying there, sort of, you can do it.
Absolutely.
It's imperative.
It's really important, and we have a nice atmosphere on the day. We've got a pipe band coming and lots of jazz bands and things, just to make it a really fun day out for people. And of course we need big crowds at the finish line to welcome everybody back.
Absolutely. And we've obviously touched on how people can register. How can people volunteer? Is there a similar process to go?
People can volunteer on the website as well, so that we know in advance who they are and we can assign them a role beforehand.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us. And again, if you would like to learn more about Pink Ribbon Walk, it's pinkribbonwalk.org.uk. And obviously, how important it is that we register. If you wish to register today, the promotional code is Ribbon1 to receive a special £5 discount on your registration fee, which will take it down to £25. Which is a little bit of a head start. So all that's be left to say is that I will be walking 10 miles on May the 12th at Scone Palace. So I think we can both say we'll look forward to seeing you there.
Well, it's amazing who you bump into down here at the North Bench. I'm joined by Stephen Bonthrone. Stephen, you're training the runners for the Perth Kilt Run.
Yeah, that's right.
How's it going?
It's going really well. The guys are progressing well. This is week 3 into the club, so good start, good progression. So the guys are all enjoying it.
Excellent.
So
how's the numbers going?
Numbers are going okay. There's still a long way to go, and but we're getting there. A lot's going to happen over the next few weeks, so it's going to be great.
So now you're at Perth Academy, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Joining
yep.
There. Where else are people joining?
We've got regiments, joined from companies, schools, all over the place. There's a lot of developments happening, which is all coming good.
Excellent. Now, you don't have to be like a great runner to join this, do you?
No. Even you can take part, Vivian.
So tell us about some of the runners that are joining you. Are they new runners, experienced?
I've got a good mixture. I've got people who are just starting out, people who've been running for a while, but they're all progressing, they're all developing. It's all about going faster, running for longer without being out of breath.
Good. And the most important thing is about taking part, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's all about participation. It's a world record attempt. It's not a race. It's all about coming down, being some part of something special. And effectively, it's actually just a national pride.
Good.
I mean, it's like, do you want Canada to beat us at our own game?
Okay. So just remind us, how many runners are you aiming for?
We're nearer to between 1,500 and 2,000. We're needing that higher figure now to break the record. Right. Turn up, wear your kilt, come and get your kilt on and come and run and be part of our
attempt. Now, if people want to be part of it, what do they do?
Just go to perthkiltrun.co.uk or follow us on our Facebook page. Excellent. And enter from there.
Thank you. Well, you've heard it here, folks. If you want to join Stephen, if you want to take part, get in touch. Now, I can see your team's behind you.
They're
all ready to go.
Desperate to go. Yeah.
Okay, thanks again, Steve.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Fairways provide cost-effective HR support, from contracts to recruitment, health and safety to training. Fairways, working with you, for you. Visit fairways-uk.com or call Perth 632 561 for a free consultation.
I did it Fairways.
Hi, I'm Gavin Syme from Perthshire Online TV. We, the team at Perthshire Online TV, like the Peel to Save initiative. We were so impressed that Perthshire Online TV will be adding the Peel to Save Perth fundraising card to our website shopping cart so that you have the opportunity to buy the cards online. For those of you who don't know, Peel to Save cards are credit card sized, so they fit neatly into a purse or wallet. They contain 64 individual peel-off vouchers with great deals from local businesses in and around Perth. In total, the cards are worth over £400, but the cards only cost £10, and we will be donating £5 from every card sold to a different good cause every month. Consumers only need to redeem 1 or 2 vouchers and they can recover their £10. So it's a self-funding fundraiser. In total, the offers are worth, as I said, over £400. If you need more information, please take a look at Peel to Save Perth on Facebook or peeltosave.co.uk. Peel to Save Perth is a real community initiative and a number of fundraising groups are already involved. When times are tough for everyone, local consumers are getting something in return for their donation to good causes. Local businesses are receiving support from the local community in return for their fantastic discounts and offers. Fundraisers have a new and risk-free means of securing donations, so everyone wins. This is really important when fundraising for many good causes is being cut or is hard to come by, and when our city centres and high streets are also under threat. So, Perthshire Online TV and Peel to Save Perth have got together. We will be promoting a Peel to Save card for a different fundraiser every month. We'll promote the card on the TV show, and you can buy the card online on our Perthshire Online TV website. To be selected as our Good Cause of the Month, please email us with your name and contact details and a brief explanation of what you do and why you think you should be selected. If you're selected, and the selection is at random, you'll enjoy free promotion on Perthshire Online TV for that month, in addition to receiving revenue from all the cards sold online that month. So it's a really good initiative, a win-win all round. To be eligible, you need to be a non-profit group, organisation, individual or registered charity. This would include schools, clubs, youth groups, sports clubs, churches and so on. So please send in your details now, and good luck for the first challenge. As we move into city status in Perth, part of our strength is the intellectual property and the intellectual value that we have here in the area as well. To say a few words on that topic, today we're delighted that we have the Provost of Perth, Dr. John Hilbert, in the studio. Provost, welcome.
Thank you very much.
2 areas you feel very important with regards our intellectual value in Perthshire as a city and a leading region in Scotland and in the UK. Perth College UHI and the Royal Scottish Geographical Society. Would you like to give us a couple of views on that?
Yeah, I think, yes, indeed. I think that for any place to call itself a city and to be a city needs to have some intellectual weight behind it. And the fact that we now have the biggest part, incidentally, of the UHI, the University of the Highlands and Islands, established in Perth, a gateway to the Highlands here in Perth, is very, very important. It provides that intellectual weight. We have some very high quality work going on there, especially with Matthew Price and the Mountain Studies courses that he runs and the research that he does. And there are others as well. And then we also have the Royal Scottish Geographical Society. Now, we put in a lot of effort to attracting the RSGS to Perth. They were in Glasgow. They wanted to move out of their premises there, and they looked around a large number of places. And the Fairmaid's House and Lord John Murray's house were available, and they were delighted to come. And that provides a separate intellectual base in Perth. We could do with more, don't get me wrong. We could do with more of these organisations establishing in Perth to give it that breadth, intellectual breadth and depth, which UHI and RSGS do to a very great extent, but we could do with more.
What else would you like to see?
Well, we're having a conference of the Scottish Economic Society here in April. Now, the Scottish Economic Society is an organisation which has similarities to the RSGS. It's international in its membership, as is the RSGS. The current chairman of the Scottish Economic Society is a German professor, and very many Germans are in the Scottish Economic Society, and that is able to happen because it is not London dominated or London based. Now, I would love to see the Scottish Economic Society have a permanent base in Perth, and I have actually suggested that to them. But largely the base that they use is the university wherever their chairman is. The previous chairman was Robert Wright, who was a professor or is a professor in Strathclyde, and a large amount of the work went on in his department. Now it's in Hamburg University, and a large amount of the work goes on there. But it's still the Scottish Economic Society. They have their annual conference here in Perth every year. They run a schools event, which until recently has been run either in Edinburgh or Glasgow. But for the first time this year, 2012, it'll be run in Perth in the concert hall in November. And schools from all over Scotland send pupils who are interested in economics, and they have this two-day event here in Perth. Well, this time it will be in Perth. So that's another organisation which is gravitating towards Perth, and I would love to see its headquarters established here.
Great. Provost, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we've got the owner of Willows here, Willie White, with us. Hi Willie, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
So, not as great weather as it was last week, eh?
It's certainly not, no, a little bit damp, but I'm hoping for it to dry up. Compared to last week, it was very sunny. This place was all packed outside, but not so much today.
Willie, you're a real Kent face in Perth, and I believe it's an anniversary for Willows this year.
It certainly is. It's hard to believe, but it's 20 years now. This year, Willows has been open. And so we've got celebrations planned for May. We've been open, as I say, 20 years now.
Great, and a thriving business you've got here.
It is. It's still busy today as it was the day we opened. Within a week of opening, we were packed, queuing at the door, especially at weekends, and we still are.
And you've got your son working with you now as well, haven't you?
I have. I don't know if the word working with me, or perhaps I think Michael's more taking over the business.
Right.
I think I'm assisting him more. Michael's doing lots of new things in Willows, changing a few things with or without my permission.
Because it's not just a daytime venue; it's an evening venue as well, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, Michael's. We have what we call Willows Brasserie every Friday and Saturday night, and he does the brasserie menu open till 9:30 on Friday and Saturday night, and is doing very well with it.
Good. Well, Willie, congratulations. Happy 20th birthday to Willows.
Yes, just thank you very much, and we look forward to the party.
Great.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to again be joined by Dr. Alex Yellowlees, our resident psychiatrist and medical director of the Priory Hospital in Glasgow. And today we're going to be discussing depression. Now, Alex, this is misunderstood, isn't it? Because we're not just talking about being cheesed off, fed up, down in the dumps.
Absolutely, you're quite right, and it's a real pleasure for me to speak about this topic today because it's one that I think is so grossly misunderstood in our society. Because you're quite right, true clinical depression isn't just about feeling sorry for oneself, feeling down in the dumps or a bit gloomy or a bit sad. We all have fluctuations in our mood that follow that kind of course. But true clinical depression is an entity that's completely different.
So what is it then?
Well, let's just put it in perspective because it is the most serious and common psychiatric condition in the world today. And within a few years, it will be the second most common cause of disability worldwide. So this is a really serious condition. It's extremely common. It's extremely potentially disabling and fatal in some circumstances and has to be taken very, very seriously.
Because there's a lot of myths surrounding
Oh, it's
depression.
surrounded by myths. People just think you're feeling sorry for yourself and tell you to give yourself a shake or pull yourself together, this kind of attitude. And that's because they're not truly understanding the nature of the condition and confusing it with just feeling a bit down or a bit sad or whatever. And the real clinical depression is completely different.
So what sort of things can cause depression?
Well, lots of different things can cause it. Women are more likely to present to the doctor with depression, but men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women.
Which is really shocking.
It is an interesting statistic, isn't it? I think women probably present more commonly because they're slightly more aware of their feelings, and the depression probably presents more obviously to them and others as them being low in their mood and not quite themselves. I think with men who are not so good at processing their emotions, it sometimes shows itself in other ways by drinking too much alcohol or engaging in other kinds of behaviours that are actually depressive ones. And so it's not quite so obvious that they might be clinically depressed. And because they have that difficulty, I think, in expressing their emotions and an issue maybe about going and seeking help for an issue like this, they're much more likely to bottle it up. And I think that probably is why more men commit suicide than women, because it gets too far down the line and that they see as the only way out. And we've had recent examples of that, of course, in the press with celebrities and others and well-known figures who've committed suicide.
That's right, and it's all age groups as well, isn't it?
It can affect children right through to old age.
Yeah.
Sometimes people would say, well, what if children how are they going to get depressed? But it's part of the human condition, this disorder, and it affects all ages and both sexes, of course.
And now there's different types of depression.
Yes.
Just run us through some.
Yes, there are many different forms of this illness, which are really all under the umbrella of depressive disorder. But you can have a single episode when you get almost a punched out episode of depressive illness from which you fully recover. You can get many of those. Some people get many episodes of those in their lifetime. Other people, the depression is part of the condition bipolar disorder, which people are increasingly familiar with, where an individual will have extreme highs in mood and in periods of extreme low. It can be part of seasonal affective disorder, which is quite common in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yes, you hear quite a lot about that now, don't you? Yeah.
You do, and that's related to the amount of sunlight that we don't receive in the extremes of the hemispheres and how that affects our body's biochemistry.
But people can get depressed, and they do live in a sunny climate, because it's not just here in Scotland, is it? I mean, you can be in Hawaii and still suffer from depression. Absolutely. Because there are many different factors that go into combine together, really like a mix, to produce this illness. There's a small genetic component that will run through families, not necessarily every generation, but you will find that often there's a history of depressive disorder going back in the family somewhere. So some people are maybe more predisposed to
Absolutely, more vulnerable genetically. Then there are things like main life events, stressful life events tend to not necessarily cause the illness or the episode, but trigger it off. So somebody might have that bit of vulnerability to the illness, but then along comes a series of difficult experiences that they have, and that acts as a final trigger to trigger off the onset of the illness. So it can be really quite a debilitating experience for folk.
So in your day-to-day life, you see many people with all different forms of this illness.
Yes.
So how, if people recognise some of these symptoms in themselves, how can they get treated? I mean, what can you do to help them?
Well, I think your first point about when they recognise, quite often people don't recognise it.
Or their family might recognise.
Their family might, because the key signs really are not just feeling low in mood. That's a key factor for most people, is that they're aware that their mood is very low, and that might get to the stage where they actually question whether they want to live, have thoughts of suicide, and even through to the stage where they might devise a plan for how they might do away with themselves. That's not uncommon. And a large percentage of the population will have suicidal notions at some point in their life. So the mood may be low, particularly early in the morning. A bit gets better as the day goes on. The sleep will be disturbed because at one level this is quite a physical illness. Although people think it's just an emotional thing, it's actually got a lot of fixed physical symptoms.
So what are some of those symptoms?
Well, appetite will be diminished usually, occasionally increased, but more often lost. Taste for food is lost. People lose a bit of weight. Sleep will be disturbed with difficulty getting off to sleep often, but more characteristically getting off to sleep and awakening during the early hours of the morning. Unable to get back to sleep. That early morning awakening, we call it, is a really key sign. People may have physical symptoms, aches and pains, which are not easily explained by obvious physical conditions. Their concentration will be impaired, so they have difficulty reading the newspaper, following things, remembering things. It makes it difficult at work if their concentration is particularly impaired.
And if you're tired as well, you know, yeah.
And their sexual interest will diminish as well during that period. So it's a very physical, biological kind of experience as well as an emotional one.
So it's from all angles, really.
All angles.
Yes.
And very disabling when people have it severely, extremely so, they can't function.
And you were telling me earlier that often sports people can
Yes,
have
I mean 25% of the population will have the illness, and perhaps more, but in sports people, the statistics are higher. It's about 40% will experience a depressive episode at some time in their career.
Why is that, do you think?
It's an interesting point. One could only speculate that it's something to do with the intensity of the environment, the expectations upon them, the pressures they are under, etc. And perhaps the climate, the emotional climate within which they're trying to function, where it's quite a macho environment, isn't it, where emotions are not easily accepted and expressed. So it may be more difficult for them to show to others that they're not coping well and experiencing depressive symptoms, and to actually come forward and get help, because that would be perhaps not looked on in the right kind of way.
Yeah.
But thankfully I think sports doctors and trainers are becoming much more aware of the condition being a possibility in sports people.
And really that's what this is about, isn't it? Is to make people aware.
Absolutely.
And to seek help.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing.
Well, absolutely, you're quite right. To seek help, to if one has some of those signs, to go and get a professional opinion from the GP or from a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever. It's extremely common. People from all walks of life and social classes experience it. It's part of the human condition, and the wonderful thing is it can be treated and cured in the vast majority of cases.
Yeah.
And that is by usually a combination of the right antidepressant medication combined with the right psychological interventions in the form of a form of talking treatment called cognitive behavioural therapy, which is really designed around changing one's negative depressive thinking patterns which come in the condition, because people begin to think very negatively and their thinking patterns change when they're clinically depressed.
Yeah. And the earlier it's treated, the
the earlier it's treated, the easier it is to change it and cure it. But even if people have had it for a long time, it still can be treated very effectively. So there's really no need for people to suffer from this condition, but to recognise it in themselves, not be afraid of it or ashamed of it, because it's so common that most of us will experience it at some stage in our life. There's a high probability of that.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming in to discuss this with us.
Yeah.
So the message is, don't suffer in silence. Well, thank you as always for joining us this week.
And thank you for your support in watching Perthshire Online TV. We always want to hear from you. We want to hear your news. We want to hear about your events. We want to hear about your interesting stories. So please contact us on the normal channels. You can email us at info@perthshireonline.co.uk. You can Facebook us on the Perthshire Online page, or you can follow us and communicate with us on Twitter at PerthshireOn. Until next week.